Welcome to the Minute of Terror channel. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment where you are watching this video from. The highway that never ends. My name is John, and I've been a trucker for 20 years, hauling loads across the back roads of America. I'll never forget that moonless night in the New Mexico desert. It was around midnight, and I was driving my old Freightliner down a state highway, carrying a load of auto parts that had to be delivered by dawn. The deadline was tight, and my GPS suggested a shortcut through Route 666, a back road I'd never heard of before. They call it the Devil's Highway in whispers at truck stops, but I brushed it off as superstition. Trusting the tech, I turned right, rolling onto a narrow, cracked asphalt road flanked by endless stretches of sagebrush and cacti. The radio hissed with static, picking up nothing, and the only sound was the rumble of my engine cutting through the desert silence. After an hour of driving, a chill ran down my spine. The road seemed to go on forever. No mile markers, no lights, no signs of life. I passed a faded, weathered sign with 666 scrawled in peeling red paint. It gave me the creeps, but I kept going. A few minutes later, there was again the same damn sign, identical, with the same cracks and chip paint. I checked the odometer, and it showed the same mileage as before, like I hadn't moved an inch. My heart started pounding. I glanced at the GPS, but the screen was frozen, just a blinking in a sea of black. I told myself it was just exhaustion, that my mind was playing tricks, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. I floored it, desperate to find an exit, but the scenery looped. The same twisted Joshua tree on the left, the same dry creek bed on the right, the same broken sign. The radio, which had been nothing but static, started humming with low murmurs, like voices overlapping. I turned up the volume, trying to make sense of it, and heard, "You don't leave, you belong to the road." My blood ran cold. I shut off the radio, but the sound kept going, louder, like it was coming from inside the cab. I laughed nervously, trying to convince myself it was all in my head, but then I caught something in the rear-view mirror. A shadow, like a human silhouette, darted across the road behind me. I slammed on the brakes, sweating buckets, and looked again. Nothing. The highway was empty. I decided to stop the truck and check things out. The darkness outside was so thick, it seemed to swallow my headlights. The air felt heavy, like it was pressing down on me. As I checked the tires, I heard a rustling in the brush. "Who's there?" I shouted, but only my echo answered. My heart was in my throat. I ran back to the cab, locked the doors, and peeled out. That's when I saw it. Far off in the beam of my headlights, a hooded figure standing dead center in the road. I couldn't see its face, just a black shape with a hood obscuring its head. I gunned the engine, but the figure didn't budge. It stayed at the same distance, no matter how fast I went. Things got worse from there. The figure started showing up at every turn, always standing, always watching. I was yelling, cursing, but it wouldn't move. The radio kicked on by itself, playing my own voice like a recording. "Somebody get me out of here. I can't get out." I'd never said those words. My phone had no signal, and the fuel gauge, which I'd filled up before hitting the road, was nearly empty. The truck started sputtering, and the hooded figure appeared right in front of me, its eyes glowing like embers under the hood. In a panic, I swerved the truck right at it, but there was no impact. The figure dissolved like smoke, and the road vanished. Suddenly, I was in a pitch-black void, the truck floating in an endless nowhere. The radio erupted with muffled laughter, and the voice whispered, "You never leave the road. It's your home now." I don't know how long I was there. All I know is I never made it to my drop-off. They say my truck was found abandoned on a state highway, tank full, engine cold. I wasn't in it, but sometimes on moonless nights, I hear the roar of my Freightliner echoing in the darkness, and I feel the pull of Route 666, like it's calling me back, like I never left. The Shadow on the Highway. My name is Sergio, and for 15 years, I've been driving a rig across the highways of America. I've seen it all: crashes, robberies, storms that nearly blew me off the road. But nothing compares to that night on Route 66, cutting through the Oklahoma plains. It was a cold night, with a low fog creeping over the asphalt. I was beat, coming back from a long haul, my radio crackling with some old country tune barely coming through. All I wanted was to hit the next truck stop, grab a coffee, and crash. But something on that road changed everything. I was cruising slow through the fog when I caught a glimpse of something in the corner of my eye, off to the right. It was quick, like a shadow that darted and vanished. I figured it was a coyote or something, but my gut twisted. I checked the rear view mirror, but the fog swallowed everything. I kept going, my heart picking up a bit, and then I saw it again. This time, it was clearer. A human silhouette, lanky, standing still at the road's edge. I didn't get a good look before it disappeared, as my headlights hit it. My mouth went dry, but I told myself it was just exhaustion, that the road plays tricks on you. A few miles down, the shadow showed up again, right in the middle of the highway. I slammed on the brakes, my Peterbilt screeching, my heart pounding like a drum. It was a man, scrawny, in tattered clothes, his face hidden under a hood. He stood there, staring at the ground, like he didn't even see me. I laid on the horn, but he didn't budge. I climbed out of the cab, legs shaking, and yelled, "Hey, get out of the way!" But when I blinked, he was gone. The road was empty, just fog and silence. I hightailed it back to the cab, locked the door, and peeled out, desperate to leave that stretch behind. But the shadow wouldn't let me go. Every few minutes it was back, sometimes by the roadside, sometimes crossing the asphalt, always vanishing before I could make it out. My breathing was shallow, and the radio started hissing, like someone was trying to talk. Then I heard a low murmur, almost a whisper. "You saw, you know." I froze. I shut off the radio, but the voice kept going, clearer now, raspy, like it was coming from inside the cab. "He didn't stop. He left me to die." I didn't want to believe it, but that voice jogged a memory of a story I heard at a truck stop months back. A drifter named Joe used to wander Route 66, begging for food or a ride. One night, a drunk driver in a rig like mine ran him down and sped off, leaving him bleeding out on the pavement. They found Joe's body days later, and ever since, folks say he haunts that road, looking for the guy who did it. I wasn't that driver, but the shadow didn't seem to care. It got worse. The shadow started banging on the passenger window, the sound like hammer strikes. I was yelling, flooring it, but it kept showing up closer now, practically pressed against the glass. Once, I saw its face under the hood, sunken eyes, ashen skin, and a look of pure hatred that chilled me to the bone. The truck started acting up, the engine sputtering, the lights flickering. I checked the fuel gauge, and no way, it was nearly empty, even though I'd filled up just hours before. The radio blared with guttural laugh, and the voice said, "You don't escape like he didn't escape." Panicked, I pulled onto the shoulder, hands shaking on the wheel. The shadow was outside, a few yards away, pointing at me. Then I heard banging from the trailer, like someone was trying to break into the load. I grabbed a tire iron and jumped out, ready to face whatever it was. But there was nothing, just fog and silence. When I got back to the cab, the shadow was inside, sitting in the passenger seat. I screamed, swung the tire iron, but it passed right through like smoke. The voice hit me again, now inside my head. "You saw, now you carry it." Then, just like that, it stopped. The engine roared back to life. The light steadied, and the shadow was gone. My heart was hammering so hard, I thought it had burst. I drove like a madman, not stopping until I hit a truck stop packed with other drivers. The sun just breaking over the horizon. Still shaking, I spilled the story to a group of truckers. An old guy with a scarred face looked at me, dead serious, and said, "You crossed Joe's stretch. He marks anyone who drives through there at night. Now he's with you." I laughed it off, trying to act tough, but I felt a weight in my chest. I haven't been the same since. Every time I drive at night, I feel him in the passenger seat, a heaviness I can't explain. Sometimes I catch the shadow in the rearview mirror, those sunken eyes staring. The radio hisses, even when it's off, and I hear the whisper, "You carry it." I don't know what Joe wants from me. I didn't kill him, but something tells me he's not letting go. I don't take Route 66 after dark anymore, but I know wherever I go, he's there, waiting in the shadows of the highway.